and it's still a major priority. I think the majority of the members of both bodies still support it. We need some direction from the administration as to how they intend to go forward.
Leader McConnell. Leader McConnell. Leader McConnell.
Curtis?
Jim Jordan, the congressman running for speaker, says he does not support more Ukraine aid. Does that bother you? I mean, do you have a preference for a speaker?
Look,
Many are trying to fall into food security, and now, when the crisis aid has boosted food stamp benefits cuts next week again, millions of the low-income Americans will see smaller balances in the accounts that they use to pay for groceries, leaving food banks bracing for a spike in demand. As of March 1st, the emergency allotment for individuals and households enrolled in federal SNAP program will end in 32 states, the District of Columbia, Guam, and the Virgin Islands. This means that the recipient households will see their monthly grocery allocation reduced by at least $95. And according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, that equates to cutting roughly $9 per person on average, for about $6.10. And the change comes when food prices in January had increased 10% over the same last month. For instance, a deputy undersecretary for the USDA administers the SNAP program and acknowledged that SNAP benefits have proved to be very powerful for recipients. And now Dean even stated that this can't be underscored enough in the difference of it's making a huge mitigating increase in hunger and addressing economic hardship and poverty. She added that while the program's expiration will be difficult, the extra aid delivered was always designed to be temporary. More than 40 million people participated in SNAP as of October, in the latest period for which the federal data was available. Participation hasn't even previously surpassed that level since the summer of 2020, and the program's total cost for fiscal year 2021 was only $113 billion. That included 9 months of a 15% increase to the maximum benefit as part of this emergency allotment. But research by the Urban Institute found that the enhanced SNAP benefits are going to keep 4.2 million people above the poverty line. And food banks in those areas say they've seen sharp demand for SNAP, and the benefits are reduced, and relief organizations in the remaining states are now scrambling to strategize what to do. Because in Georgia, which ended its enhanced benefits last May, and the Atlanta community... Folks, time is running out. Kevin McCarthy is now being faced with a big decision. This event could affect the millions of Americans and their finances. Some lawmakers want even Congress to pass a made to programs like Social Security, a bill to help everyone out. House Speaker McCarthy will put his control of the thin Republican majority on the line this week with a bid to pass a bill that slashes spending that is designed to jam with President Biden over the looming government debt crisis. The standoff is deepening between the Republican Speaker and the Democratic President, which could be fateful for the country in both their political careers, and the ability of each side to unify their parties and shape public opinion to avoid or dispense blame will be crucial. The clash is over the need to raise the government's borrowing authority within months, without which the United States would default on its debts in a way that could send the domestic and global economies spiraling and could inflict deep pain. Republicans are seeking to use the situation as leverage to stop Biden's domestic program. The president, as he moves toward making his re-election campaign official as early as this week, says the GOP must not hold the nation hostage to what he says is an extreme agenda. The debt ceiling showdown is important to Biden, as he seeks to protect the legislative achievements of his term so far, and to portray an image of strength and purpose. McCarthy is seeking to unite his party around him to pass a bill that will raise debt ceiling for a year in exchange for deep spending cuts. The measure would limit growth in government spending to 1% a year, block student loan forgiveness, resigned new funding for the IRS, and introduce tougher work requirements for Medicaid. Even if it makes it out of the House, there's no chance this will pass. The approach is meant to make it look like the public and Biden is being obstructive and should hold the blame for any debt default. The White House has said it won't negotiate over a debt ceiling increase, which is Congress's responsibility, and will only accept a clean proposal to raise the nation's borrowing limit. But the Speaker on Sunday was adamant that Biden will have to climb down from the position as the country races closer to a crisis that could peak during the summer. Even recently, the Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri introduced the Keep Our Promises Act to exempt Social Security and Medicare from the debt ceiling. Social Security and Medicare beneficiaries must be confident that their benefits will be paid in full and on time. Senator Hawley's legislation will ensure these programs are never used as leverage in negotiations over the debt limit. Senator Hawley has said in an official statement, Social Security and Medicare are not bargaining chips. These are promises we made to the people, and we must not break them. The Keeper Promises Act would first exempt Social Security and Medicare from the statutory debt limit. That it would authorize the Treasury Department when the statutory debt limit is reached. So, it would also permit the Treasury Department to use its authority in all future debt limit episodes, thereby permanently insulating Social Security and Medicare from any impact of a debt ceiling standoff.
Property insurance policies in Florida. So 25% of what they saw coming in from Ian was related to property lines and 75% in auto coverage. And what they've said is that the inflation related to both of these is significantly adding to their costs. We know that house values have skyrocketed in Florida. And so if you're paying someone to replace the loss of their home, the costs are significantly going to increase. Not only that, they're looking at bodily injury costs where it comes to auto insurance increasing as well because of medical inflation. So there you're getting it. They say that the estimated catastrophe loss
to $1,827 per month starting in January. Now, most people think of Social Security as a program for older Americans, and it's true that most of the roughly 70 million recipients in the program are 62 or older. But this program also helps millions of disabled workers, children, widows, and widowers. In fact, there are 9 million disabled workers on it, another 6 million children, widows, and widowers. So this means that a broad range of Americans will actually be helped by this cost of living adjustment starting in January.
So checks will be arriving this holiday season. The lawmakers are planning to send down more inflation checks, and there is a relief check proposal that would give more help to those in need. So, stimulus checks have had a profound impact on millions of people's lives, and they may continue to affect the size of your bank during the end of this year, and even into 2023, folks. So, each state has different guidelines in its inflation checks. Some states are offering tax rebates, others are sending out direct checks that range from $50 to even $1,000. Now, states were given $195 billion, everybody. $195 billion to give their citizens a stimulus check as well. Some states are offering tax rebates while others are giving you $50 checks and even $1,000 stimulus payments. States were given this money to help the people in need. Some states like Colorado, Maryland, and New Mexico are giving checks to people who make less than a certain amount of money or who are on unemployment. Other states like Florida, Georgia, and Michigan and Texas are putting the money toward $1,000 bonuses for teachers. Two main state senators are opposing to change the governor's Emergency Energy Assistance Bill to benefit those who need it the most. Senator Rick Bennett and Senator Nicole told reporters that they've been working together on this bill to help the low income. And Bennett, a former Senate president who was one of the 8 to vote against the bill, said he feels strongly that the public should have a chance to weigh in before the legislature spends close to $500 million. The original bill called for $450 checks to be sent to 92% of Maine adults and set income limits at $100,000 and $200,000 for couples. That program is projected to cost nearly $400 million. So Bennett and Grohowski are proposing to send checks of varying amounts to 41% of Maine adults based on your income limit. That's up to $60,000, and the system would make payments as high as $800 for couples making $20,000 or less a year.